body piercing industry as a whole is heavily invested in looking after the client. That's their main priority. The person who sits in the bedroom or in the kitchen firing holes in people is after one thing and one thing only, and that's money. You've got two options, haven't you? People who are getting pierced, they want a professional. Act like one. What I'm going to be taking you through now is the studio and the basic setup of it. The basics is you need to push towards having a cool, calm environment. If you've got thrash killer music on, it's going to get you nowhere. The client's going to be coming in already hyped up. By the time you get them on the couch, they're just going to sit there and faint straight away before you've even touched them. Calm them down. Have a calm, cool environment, clinical as well, because that's the actual impression and that's the actual standard you need to be striving for. Just to give you a nice guideline around the studio, you're going to be looking at your bench rolls. You've got gloves both sides because at some stage you might actually be working on the other side of the bed. You've got all your jewellery you need at hand, all your forceps at hand, all your needles already pre-packed, sharp spots in your station, and basically anaesthetics if you actually choose to actually use these products. The actual station itself should actually carry every single product you want to carry that piercing out. What we're also going to be teaching you today is a technique we've refined for actually stopping piercings bleeding. How it basically works is like this. When everyone usually does a piercing, the piercing and the jewellery are exactly the same calibre and size, or sometimes people will actually pierce a lot bigger than the jewellery that's necessary to be putting in. Obviously giving your body plenty enough time to let blood come steaming out of it. What we do is actually pierce it. The blade is actually smaller than the actual jewellery we stick in, and the process of putting the jewellery in the cannula is what stretches it. It all sounds very complicated, I know, but it breaks down like this. If you're going to actually do a 1.6mm barred piercing, you're actually going to use a 1.7mm needle. The actual blade in the needle is 1.5mm. When you actually put the jewellery in, slightly stretching the cannula to the size, it'll actually take it up to the size of 1.7, thus sealing the piercing by 0.2mm. It sounds very complicated, but it's a technique that works, we've refined, and it is exceedingly good at its job. You will find that hardly anybody will bleed. Right, I'm going to show you this technique a bit more close up and a bit more refined. Taking a 1.7mm needle and a 1.6 piece of jewellery. When the piercing is actually carried out, you actually reintroduce the needle, slightly withhold it back onto itself, so that that's there acting as a strengthener for the actual process. Put the piece of jewellery in the end. As you can see, it's slightly, very smally enlarged the area. Withdraw the needle, discard it, run it through, and you'll find that it will actually seal the piercing. What we're now going to do is do 2 eyebrow piercings and actually demonstrate this for you. As you can see here, we've got 2 piercings, 2 eyebrows, exactly the same piercings. I've got over here, I've an orange, over here I've got a grey. First thing we'll do is we'll stick the orange piercing in. As you can see, we're already in a situation where we need to control bleeding straight away. Client wants to actually hold that. And just jumping in front of the camera. If you could just take the patch off for me. There you go. It doesn't take much to actually work out the difference in the actual style and the techniques and how it actually works and benefits the client as well as your studio. Right, there you go. The actual technique is exceedingly well proven just with that example that we did. There are a couple of actual differences in certain piercings where you can and can't use this. The only one we've ever found is navel piercings. There is a great reduction in actual bleeding in regard to this piercing anyhow. So personally, I would recommend an orange. Your client will dance all over the bed, and the concept of trying to do refined, stylised work with someone who's trying the best to actually get out the door while still getting pierced is probably not the best way to actually go forward. Also, the tongue piercing. It's not a problem with using this technique with tongue piercings. The only thing you do need to remember is, because it's that tight and it tightens the piercings up, you do need to tell the client that if they actually abuse the piercing over the next couple of days, excessive talking, drug abuse, etc, etc, which you shouldn't be doing anyhow, but clients are clients, then what will actually happen is the tongue will go black and blue. No, you haven't hit anything major, it's just the fact that the muscle cannot go through its normal activities. Right, what we have here is your client. We're just going to run you through some of the basic piercings that are available on the market. There are some other ones, but this particular client carries a fair arraignment of them. You've got the eyebrows with rings, eyebrows with bars, both sides of a nose pierce. You've got your labrets at the bottom. You've also got some extreme lip piercing at the top. On the side here, you've got an industrial, inner conch, daith at the back there, tragus, tunnels and various other rings. On the side here, you've got a lot of scaffolding work, tragus, rings and tunnels again. Internally, we've got a random assortment of tongue piercings as well. Let's go extreme. What we're going to do now is a Noseallang. Very, very, very painful piercing. What the client actually needs to be is up for the job, same as you do. The piercing itself is a triple piercing in total, with only the actual entry and the exit holes visible. The marking is absolutely crucial. Measurement is spot on, we've already done that before. We're going to be putting a 22mm bar in. And let's start putting some marks on. As you can tell, by the way, a little habit, always stick dots on the back of your hand because it makes sure that the pen's working. Stick it down. Stick it up. Make sure it's level. Yeah, we're good to go. Right, you need to make sure that the actual client's ready and prepared for the piercing. Prepare your clamps. Actually compress the nose. Clamps on both sides. Make sure they're nice and spot on. We're good with that. Got your needle, you need to push this in a 90-degree direction. Put it in place. If you just give the client a second to compose himself. Done there. Needle back in. Fitting the bar in. Discard the needle. Same again. Clamp the nose. Push the bar in a nice positive movement all the way through. Discard the cannula. Screw the ball on. Level the piercing up. There you go, a Noseallang, the end.